Hare Krishna, welcome all of you for today's book reading session. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Teachings of Lord Chaitanya by His Divine Grace Vishwaguru Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We shall continue to read from the Prologue by His Divine Grace Bhakti His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It was at this time that he preached Vaishnavism at intervals. After teaching him the principles of Vaishnavism, he ordered Tapan Mishra to go and live in Banaras. During his residence in East Bengal, his wife Lakshmi Devi left this world from the effects of snake bite. On returning home, he found his mother in a mourning state. He consoled her with a lecture on the uncertainty of human affairs. It was at his mother's request that he married Vishnupriya, the daughter of Raj Pandit Sanatan Mishra. His comrades joined him on his return from Pravas or sojourn. He was now so renowned that he was considered to be the best Pandit in Nadia. Keshav Mishra of Kashmir, who had called himself the great Digvijayi, came to Nadia with a view to discuss with the Pandits of that place. Afraid of the so-called conquering power, afraid of the so-called conquering Pandit, the tall professors of Nadia left their town on pretense of invitation, and Keshav met Mahaprabhu at the uh, Barakona Ghat in Mayapur. And after a very short discussion with him, he got defeated by the boy, and mortification obliged him to decamp. Nimai Pandit was now the most important Pandit of his times. It was at the age of 16 or 17 that he traveled to Gaya with a host of his students and there took his spiritual initiation from Ishwarapuri, a Vaishnava sannyasi and a disciple of the renowned Madhavendra Puri. Upon his return to Nadia, Nimai Pandit turned a religious preacher, and his religious nature became so strongly represented that Advaita Prabhu, Srivas, and others who had before the birth of Chaitanya already accepted the Vaishnava faith were astonished at the change in the young man. He was then no more a contending Nayayika, a wrongling Smarta, and a criticizing rhetorician. He swooned at the name of Krishna and behaved as an inspired man under the influence of his religious sentiment. It has been described by Murari Gupta, an eyewitness, that he showed his heavenly powers in the house of Srivas Pandit in the presence of hundreds of his followers who were mostly well read scholars. It was at this time that he opened a nocturnal school of Kirtan in the compound of Srivas Pandit with his sincere followers. There he preached, there he sang, there he danced, and there he expressed all sorts of religious feelings. Nityananda Prabhu, who was then a preacher of Vaishnavism and who had then completed his travels all over India, joined him by that time. In fact, a host of Pandit preachers of Vaishnavism, all sincere at heart, came and joined him from different parts of Bengal. Nadia now became the regular seat of a host of Vaishnava acharyas, saintly teachers, whose mission it was to spiritualize mankind with the highest influence of the Vaishnava devotional creed. The first mandate that he issued to Prabhu Nityananda and Haridas, his close associates, was this: Go, friends, go through the streets of the town, meet every man at his door, and ask him to sing the name of Hari with a holy life, and you then come and report to me every evening the result of your preaching. Thus ordered, the two preachers went on and met Jagai and Madhai, the two most abominable characters. They insulted the preachers on hearing Mahaprabhu's mandate, but were soon converted by the influence of bhakti inculcated by their Lord. The nature of Nadia were now sorry, the people of Nadia were now surprised. They said, Nimai Pandit is only Nimai Pandit is not only a gigantic genius, but he is certainly a missionary from God Almighty. From this time to his 23rd year, Mahaprabhu preached his principles not only in Nadia but in all important towns and villages around his city. In the houses of his followers, he showed miracles, taught the esoteric principles of bhakti, and sang his Sankirtan with other bhaktas or devotees. His followers of the town of Nadia commenced to sing the holy name of Hari in the streets and bazaars. This created a sensation and roused different feelings in different quarters. The bhaktas were highly pleased. The smarta, caste conscious Brahmins became jealous of Nimai Pandit's success and complained to Chand Kazi against the character of Chaitanya as un-Hindu. The Kazi came to Srivas Pandit's house and broke a mridanga or drum used in Sankirtan there and declared that unless Nimai Pandit ceased to make noise about his quiver religion, he should be obliged to enforce Mohammedanism on him and his followers. This was brought to Mahaprabhu's notice. He ordered the town people to appear in the evening, each with a torch in his hand. This they did, and Nimai marched out with his Sankirtan divided into 14 groups. And on his arrival at the Qazi's house, he held a long conversation with the Qazi, and in the end communicated into his heart his Vaishnava influence by touching the body, by touching his body. The Qazi then wept and admitted that he had felt a keen spiritual influence which had cleared up his doubts and produced in him a religious sentiment which gave him the highest ecstasy. The Qazi then joined the Sankirtan party. The world was astonished at the spiritual power of the great Lord, and hundreds of heretics converted, joining the banner of Vishwambhar after this affair. It was after this that some of the jealous and low minded Brahmins of Kulia picked a quarrel with Mahaprabhu and collected a party to oppose him. Nimai Pandit was naturally a soft hearted person, though strong in his principles. He declared that party feeling and sectarianism were two great enemies of progress, and as long as he could continue to be an inhabitant of Nadia, belonging to a certain family, his mission would not meet with complete success. He then resolved to be a citizen of the world by cutting off his connection with a particular family, caste, and creed. And with this resolution, he embraced the position of a sannyasi at Katwa near under the guidance of Keshav Bharati of that town in the 24th year of his life. His mother and wife wept bitterly for his separation, but our hero, though soft in heart, was a strong person in principle. He left his little world in his house for the unlimited spiritual world of Krishna with man in general. After his sannyasa, he was induced to visit the house of Advaita Prabhu in Shantipur. Advaita managed to invite all his friends and admirers from Nadia and brought Shachi Devi to see her son. Both pleasure and pain invaded her heart when she saw her son in the attire of a sannyasi. As a sannyasi, Krishna Chaitanya put up nothing but a cowpeen and a bahirvas or outer covering. His head was without hair, and his hands bore a danda or a stick and a kamandalu or a hermit's water pot. The holy son fell at the feet of his beloved mother and said, Mother, this body is yours, and I must obey your orders. Permit me to go to Vrindavan for my spiritual attainments. The mother, in consultation with Advaita and others, asked her son to reside in Puri, the town of Lord Jagannath, so that she might obtain his information now and then. Mahaprabhu agreed to that proposition and in a few days left Shantipur for Orissa. His biographers have described the journey of Krishna Chaitanya, that was the name he got after his sannyas. His biographers have described the journey of Krishna Chaitanya from Shantipur to Puri in great detail. He traveled along the side of the Bhagirathi as far as Chhatrabhog, situated now in Thana Mathurapur, Diamond Harbour, 24 Perks. There he took a boat and went as far as Prayag Ghat in the Midnapur district. Thence he walked through Balasore and Cuttack to Puri, seeing the temple of Bhuvaneshwar on his way. Upon his arrival at Puri, he saw Jagannath in the temple and put up with Sarvabhauma at the request of the latter. Sarvabhauma was a gigantic pandit of the day. His readings knew no bounds. He was the best Nayaik of the times and was known as the most erudite scholar in the Vedanta philosophy of the school of Shankaracharya. He was born in Nadia, Vidyanagar, and taught innumerable pupils in the Nyaya philosophy in his stole there. He had left for Puri some time before the birth of Nimai Pandit. His brother-in-law Gopinath Mishra introduced our new sannyasi to Sarvabhauma, who was astonished at his personal beauty and feared that it would be difficult for the young man to maintain sannyasa dharma during the long run of his life. Gopinath, who had known Mahaprabhu from Nadia, had a great reverence for him and gave out that the sannyasi was not a common human being. On this point, Gopinath and Sarvabhauma had a hot discussion. Sarvabhauma then requested Mahaprabhu to hear his recitation of the Vedanta Sutras, to which the latter tacitly submitted. Chaitanya heard with silence what the great Sarvabhauma uttered with gravity, for 7 days, at the end of which the latter said, Krishna Chaitanya, I think you do not understand the Vedanta, as you do not say anything after hearing my recitation and explanations. The reply of Chaitanya was that he understood the sutras very well, but he could not make out what Shankaracharya meant by his commentaries. Astonished at this, Sarvabhauma said, how is it that you understand the meanings of the sutras and do not understand the commentaries which explain the sutras? All well. If you understand the sutras, please let me have your interpretations. Mahaprabhu thereupon explained all the sutras in his own way without touching the pantheistic commentary of Shankara. The keen understanding of Sarvabhauma saw the truth, beauty, and harmony of arguments in the explanations given by Chaitanya and obliged him to utter that it was the first time that he had found one who could explain the Brahma Sutras in such a simple manner. He admitted also that the commentaries of Shankara never gave such natural explanations of the Vedanta Sutras as he had obtained from Mahaprabhu. He then submitted himself as an advocate and follower. In a few days, Sarvabhauma turned out as one of the best Vaishnavas of the time. Report ran out, and the whole of Orissa sang the praise of Krishna Chaitanya, and hundreds came to him and became his followers. In the meantime, Mahaprabhu thought of visiting southern India, and he started with one Krishnadas Brahmin for the journey. His biographers have given us a detail of the journey. He first went to Kurmakshetra, where he did a miracle by curing a leper named Vasudeva. He met Ramananda Raya, the governor of Vidyanagar on the banks of the Godavari, and had a philosophical conversation with him on the subject of prema bhakti, loving devotion. He worked another miracle by touching, making them immediately disappear, the seven tal trees through which Ramachandra, the son of Dasharatha, had shot his arrow and killed the great Bali Raj. He preached Vaishnavism and Nama Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names of God throughout the journey. At Rangakshetra, he stayed for 4 months in the house of one Venkata Bhatta in order to spend the rainy season. There he converted the whole family of Venkata from Ramanuji Vaishnavism into Krishna Bhakta, along with the son of Venkata, a boy of 10 years named Gopal, who afterwards came to Vrindavan and became one of the six Goswamis or prophets serving under their leader Sri Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Trained up in Sanskrit by his uncle Prabodhananda Saraswati, Gopal wrote several books on Vaishnavism. Chaitanya visited numerous places in southern India as far as Cape Comorin and returned to Puri in 2 years by Pandharpur on the Bhima. In this latter place, he spiritualized one Tukaram, who became, from that time, a religious preacher himself. This fact has been admitted in his Abhangas, which have been collected in a volume by Mr. Satyendranath Tagore of the Bombay Civil Service. During his journey, he had discussions with the Buddhists, the Jains, and the Mayavadis in several places and converted his opponents to Vaishnavism, the worship of God as a person. Upon his return to Puri, Raja Prataparudra Dev and several Pandit Brahmins joined the banners of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was now 27 years of age. In his 28th year, he went to Bengal as far as Gaud in Malda. There he picked up two great personages named Rupa and Sanatana. Though descended from the lines of the Carnatic Brahmins, these two brothers turned out demi Muslims by their continual contact with Hussein Shah, the then Emperor of Gaud. Their names had been changed by the emperor into Dabir Khash and Sakar Malik, and their master loved them heartily as they were both learned in Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit, and were loyal servants of the state. The two gentlemen had found no way to come back as regular Hindus and had written to Mahaprabhu while he was at Puri for spiritual help. Mahaprabhu had written in reply that he would come to them and extricate them out of their spiritual difficulties. Now that he had come to Gaud, both the brothers appeared before him with their long standing prayer. Mahaprabhu ordered them to go to Vrindavan and meet him there. Chaitanya returned to Puri through Shantipur, where he again met with his dear mother. After a short stay at Puri, he left for Vrindavan. This time he was accompanied by one Balabhadra Bhattacharya. He visited Vrindavan and came down to Prayag or Allahabad, converting a large number of Mohammedans into Vaishnavism by argument from the Quran. The descendants of those converts are still known as Pathan Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami met him at Allahabad and Chaitanya trained him up in spirituality in 10 days and directed him to go to Vrindavan on missions. His first mission was to write theological works explaining scientifically pure bhakti and prema, devotional service, and love of Godhead. The second mission was to revive the places where Krishna Chandra had in the end of Dwapara Yuga, the previous age, exhibited his Leela or pastimes for the benefit of the religious world. Rupa Goswami left Allahabad for Vrindavan and Mahaprabhu came down to Banaras. There he put up in the house of Chandrasekhar and accepted his daily bhiksha or meals in the house of Tapan Mishra. Here it was that Sanatana Goswami joined him and took instruction for 2 months in spiritual matters. The biographers, especially Krishnadas Kaviraj, have given us details of Chaitanya's teachings to Rupa and Sanatana. Krishnadas was not a contemporary writer, but he gathered his information from the Goswamis themselves, the direct disciples of Mahaprabhu. Jiva Goswami, who was the nephew of Sanatana and Rupa, and who has left us his invaluable work, the Shat Sandarbha, has philosophized on the precepts of his great leader. We have gathered and summarized the precepts of Chaitanya from the books of those great writers. While at Banaras, Chaitanya had an interview with the learned sannyasis of that town in the house of a Marhata Brahmin who had invited all the sannyasis for an entertainment. At this interview, Chaitanya showed a miracle which attracted all the sannyasis to him. Then ensued reciprocal conversation. The sannyasis were headed by their most learned leader, Prakashananda Saraswati. After a short controversy, they submitted to Mahaprabhu and admitted that they had been misled by the commentaries of Shankaracharya. It was impossible even for learned scholars to oppose Chaitanya for a long time, as there was some spell in him which touched their hearts and made them weep for their spiritual improvement. The sannyasis of Banaras soon fell at the feet of Chaitanya and asked for his grace or krupa. Chaitanya then preached pure bhakti and instilled into their hearts spiritual love for Krishna, which obliged them to give up sectarian feelings. The whole of Banaras, on this wonderful conversion of the sannyasis, turned Vaishnava, and they made a master Sankirtan with their new Lord. After sending Sanatana to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu went to Puri again by the jungles with his comrade Balabhadra. Balabhadra reported that Mahaprabhu had shown a good many miracles on his way to Puri, such as making tigers and elephants dance on hearing the name of Krishna. From this time, that is from his 31st year, Mahaprabhu continually lived in Puri in the house of Kashi Mishra until his disappearance in his 48th year at the time of Sankirtan in the temple of Tota Gopinath. During these 18 years, his life was one of settled love and piety. He was surrounded by numerous followers, all of whom were of the highest order of the Vaishnavas and distinguished from the common people by their purest character and learning, firm religious principles, and spiritual love of Radha Krishna. Swarup Damodar, who had been known by the name of Purushottama while Mahaprabhu was in Nadia, joined him from Banaras and accepted his service as his secretary. No production of any poet or philosopher could be laid before Mahaprabhu unless Swarup had passed it as pure and useful. Rai Ramananda was his second mate. Both he and Swarup sang while Mahaprabhu expressed his sentiment on a certain point of worship. Paramananda Puri was his minister in matters of religion. There are hundreds of anecdotes described by his biographers which we do not think it meet here to reproduce. Mahaprabhu slept short. His sentiments carried him farther and farther into the firmament of spirituality every day and night, and all his admirers and followers watched him throughout. He worshipped, communicated with his missionaries at Vrindavan, and conversed with those religious men who newly came to visit him. He sang and danced, took no care of himself, and often lost himself in religious beatitude. All who came to him believed him as the all beautiful God appearing in the nether world for the benefit of mankind. He loved his mother all along and sent her Mahaprasad, spiritual foods, now and then with those who went to Nadia. He was most amiable in nature. Humility was personified in him. His sweet appearance gave cheer to all who came in contact with him. He appointed Prabhu Nityananda as the missionary in charge of Bengal. He dispatched 6 disciples, the Goswamis, to Vrindavan to preach love in the upcountry. He punished all of his disciples who deviated from a holy life. This he markedly did in the case of Junior Haridas. He never lacked in giving proper instructions in life to those who solicited them. This will be seen in his teachings to Raghunath Das Goswami. His treatment of Haridas Senior shows how he loved spiritual men and how he defied caste distinction in the cause of spiritual brotherhood. We will continue to read in the next session. Thank you so much for joining. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.